Have you ever seen an animal that seems to move in slow motion, as if it has all the time in the world? Meet the sloth, one of the planet's most relaxed creatures. These fascinating animals spend their lives hanging upside down from tree branches in the rainforests of Central and South America. They might look like they are related to monkeys because they live in trees, but their family tree tells a very different and much older story. Sloths are not primates at all. Their closest living relatives are actually anteaters and armadillos, which might seem strange since they look so different. This special group of animals, called Xenarthra, has been around for about 60 million years, long before humans ever appeared on Earth. Millions of years ago, the ancestors of today's sloths were anything but small. Imagine a sloth as big as an elephant. These giant ground sloths roamed South America, which was like a giant island separated from the rest of the world. Because they were so isolated, they evolved in unique ways without competition from other large animals. Today's sloths are much smaller, perfectly adapted for a life high up in the canopy. They have very long, strong claws that act like hooks, allowing them to hang effortlessly from branches. These claws are so important that a sloth can even continue to hang from a tree after it has died, which shows you just how powerful their grip truly is. When you look at a sloth, you might notice it doesn't have a lot of muscle. In fact, a sloth has only about a quarter of the muscle that other animals of a similar size have. This is a key reason why they are so slow. They simply don't have the muscle power for quick movements. This lack of muscle is part of their brilliant survival strategy, which is all about saving energy. It is also very difficult for scientists to tell if a sloth is a boy or a girl just by looking at it. This is because, unlike many other mammals, their important reproductive parts are kept hidden inside their bodies. Another one of their many strange and wonderful features: there are two main kinds of sloths, the two-toed sloth and the three-toed sloth. This can be a little confusing because if you look closely you will see that both types of sloths actually have 3 toes on their back feet. The name really refers to the number of fingers or claws they have on their front limbs. So a 3-toed sloth has 3 long claws on its front arms, while a 2-toed sloth has only 2. This simple difference in their hands is how you can tell them apart. 3-toed sloths also have a special feature: they can turn their heads almost all the way around, which helps them spot danger without moving their entire body. Leaves and only leaves. A sloth's diet is the main reason for its incredibly slow lifestyle. Sloths are folivores, which is a fancy word that means they eat leaves. While leaves are everywhere in the rainforest, they are not a very good source of energy. They are tough, hard to digest, and don't provide a lot of nutrients or calories. To survive on such a low-energy food, sloths have developed an extremely slow metabolism. This means their bodies burn energy at a very slow rate. It can take a sloth up to a month to digest a single meal of leaves, which is one of the slowest digestion times of any mammal. This slow process helps them get every last bit of energy from their food. Different types of sloths have different eating habits. The 3-toed sloth is known for being an especially picky eater. When a baby 3-toed sloth is young, it learns which specific types of leaves are safe to eat by licking them from its mother's mouth. Once it learns its favorite menu, it will often stick to eating only those kinds of leaves for the rest of its life. This can be risky because if something happens to its favorite type of tree, the sloth might have trouble finding something else to eat. The 2-toed sloth is a bit more adventurous and will eat a wider variety of leaves, fruits, and even the occasional insect. Because their food gives them so little energy, sloths must be very careful about how they use it. Every movement is slow and deliberate. A sloth's top speed on the ground is only about 2 meters per minute, which is slower than a garden snail. They spend most of their days, about 15 hours, resting or sleeping to conserve as much energy as possible. This isn't because they are lazy, it's a clever survival tactic. By moving slowly and resting a lot, they make the tiny amount of energy they get from their leafy meals last for a very long time. It is a perfect strategy for an animal that lives on a diet of salad. This slow pace of life also helps sloths hide from predators. Their main threats are sharp-eyed hunters like jaguars and harpy eagles, which are very good at spotting movement. By moving at a snail's pace, a sloth can easily blend in with the leaves and branches of its treetop home. Its slow, swaying movements can even make it look like just another part of the tree, gently moving in the breeze. So, what looks like laziness is actually a brilliant form of camouflage. Being slow helps the sloth stay hidden in plain sight, safe from the hungry eyes of animals that are looking for a quick and easy meal. While sloths are famous for being slow on land and in the trees, they have a surprising secret. They are excellent swimmers. When a sloth finds itself in the water, it can move about 3 times faster than it can crawl on the ground. They use their long arms to pull themselves through the water with powerful strokes, looking much more graceful and athletic than they do on land. This swimming ability is very useful in the rainforest, where floods can happen and rivers often separate sections of the forest. Being able to swim allows a sloth to travel to new areas to find food or a mate, something their giant ancestors also did to colonize new islands. Even more amazing is how long a sloth can hold its breath underwater. A sloth can slow its heart rate down to less than a third of its normal speed, which dramatically reduces its need for oxygen. By doing this, it can stay submerged for up to 40 minutes. This is an incredible feat that few other land mammals can achieve. This ability is another example of how sloths have mastered the art of conserving energy. Slowing down their body's functions allows them to perform amazing actions like taking a long underwater journey without using up their precious energy reserves. It is a sloth superpower that most people never hear about. One of the most curious and risky behaviors of a sloth is its bathroom routine. About once a week, a sloth will make a slow and dangerous journey down from the safety of its tree to the forest floor. It does this for one reason: to go to the bathroom. On the ground, the sloth is clumsy and very vulnerable to predators like jaguars. So why take such a huge risk? Scientists have a few ideas. One theory is that going to the bathroom on the ground helps fertilize the base of their favorite home tree, ensuring their food source stays healthy for years to come. Another interesting theory involves a special relationship the sloth has with an insect called the sloth moth. When the sloth is on the ground, these moths, which live in the sloth's fur, can fly off and lay their eggs in the sloth's droppings. This ensures that a new generation of moths will have a place to live. The journey to the ground might also be a way for sloths to leave a scent message for other sloths, like a bulletin board that says, "I was here." This could help them find mates. Whatever the reason, this weekly trip to the forest floor is a vital and mysterious part of a sloth's life. A sloth's fur is not just a coat, it's an entire ecosystem. Because sloths move so slowly, other organisms have time to grow and make a home right on their bodies. The sloth's hair has special cracks in it that collect rainwater, which helps algae grow. This algae can give the sloth's fur a greenish tint, which is fantastic camouflage. It helps the sloth blend in perfectly with the leafy green canopy of the rainforest, making it much harder for predators to spot from above or below. The sloth and the algae have a helpful relationship. The algae gets a safe, moist place to live, and the sloth gets to be nearly invisible. Living alongside the algae are communities of fungi, beetles, and even cockroaches, but the most famous resident of a sloth's fur is the sloth moth. Some species of moths have evolved to live only in the fur of a sloth. A single sloth can be home to over 120 moths at once. These moths spend their entire adult lives in the sloth's fur, feeding on the algae and skin secretions. They are completely dependent on the sloth for their survival, especially for their peculiar life cycle. This miniature world living in a sloth's fur is a perfect example of symbiosis, where different species live together and help each other out. This mobile home is a testament to how perfectly sloths are adapted to their environment. They are not just living in the rainforest, they are a living part of it. Their slow movement allows this tiny ecosystem to thrive, and in return, the ecosystem helps them survive. This relationship is so unique and specialized that it could only have developed over millions of years of slow, steady evolution. It shows that in nature, every detail, no matter how small or strange it seems, often has a very important purpose. The sloth is a walking, hanging garden that supports a whole community of creatures. So, the next time you think of a sloth, don't think of it as lazy. Think of it as smart, efficient, and incredibly well adapted. Its slowness is not a weakness but its greatest strength. It's a strategy that allows it to survive on a difficult diet, hide from predators, and even become a home for other animals. From their ancient giant ancestors to their modern tree-hanging forms, sloths have mastered the art of taking it easy. They remind us that sometimes the best way to get ahead in life is to slow down and enjoy the view from the treetops, one leafy meal at a time.